volunteers, your kind attention please. Kindly request everyone outside the auditorium to assemble inside. We will be starting with the session shortly. Kindly minimize distractions during sessions by refraining from using your mobile phone for personal activities or engaging in side conversations. Kindly silence your phones to minimize disruptions during the sessions. This conclave is all about networking, so take the advantage of networking sessions to connect with fellow attendees, speakers and potential partners. Be open to sharing your insights and learning from others. Please maintain a respectful and courteous demeanor towards fellow attendees, speakers and event staff at all times. That is the spirit of volunteering above all. Please do not disturb the event flow. Save your questions for the designated Q&A sessions at the end of each session. You're welcome to ask questions and give suggestions towards the end of the session upon prompt from the event host. Avoid talking loudly, engaging in side conversations that might cause distractions for participants during the sessions. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and let's make this Corporate Volunteering Conclave 2024 a memorable and enriching experience for all. Namaste everyone, good morning once again. Ours is a land which has always believed in the idea of Paropakarartham idam shariram. The essence is in not me but you. Swami Vivekananda says, it is a privilege to serve mankind, for this is the worship of God. God is here in all these human souls. Namaste everyone, this is Purti Murlidhar, your host for the morning. I, on behalf of Youth for Seva, welcome you all to the Corporate Volunteering Conclave 2024, enabling impactful corporate volunteering. Let us get started with the event with an invocation song by the amazing volunteers of YFS.
Sujala, Sufala,
After having sought the blessings of Amma Bharati, we will now get started with the event. Shubham karoti kalyanam arogyam dhana sampada shatru buddhi vinashaya deepa jyotir namostute. Salutations to the light of the Lamb, which brings auspiciousness, health and prosperity, which destroys inimical feelings. Salutations to the light of the Lamb. May I kindly request all the dignitaries to join us on stage to light the lamp. I take immense privilege in welcoming Deepak Prabhu, Chief Executive Officer at Cognizant Foundation, Dr. Sreenath NS, Managing Director, India, Dr. Ramesh Babu HS, Principal of RNS IT, Natarajan Ranganathan, President of Youth for Seva, to kindly join us on stage to light the lamp and inaugurate the event.
Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
May I kindly request all the dignitaries to please join us on the dais for the event. As we light the lamp, there is a feeling that knowledge prevails over ignorance, good over evil, and light over darkness. So with this, we launch Corporate Volunteering Conclave 2024. Can we have a round of applause, please? Youth for Seva. Our motto says it all. Experience the joy of giving. Youth for Seva was founded in April 2007. It is a nationwide volunteering movement that inspires youth to volunteer and provides them with meaningful opportunities to serve the community. Youth for Seva's philosophy is rooted in the traditional Bharatiya concepts of Runa and Yagna. Runa, the debt. Whatever people achieve in their lives is not solely due to their individual efforts. Parents, teachers, friends, and even many unknown others contribute to a person's well-being. Our four focus areas are education, health, environment, and livelihood. Now that we are hosting Corporate Volunteering Conclave, let us know what it is. The Corporate Volunteering Conclave is Youth for Seva's efforts to bring together change makers from corporates to share their inspiring stories and corporates to share best practices around corporate community engagement. Now that we've understood what is Corporate Volunteering Conclave and what YFS is, there is another question. Why is YFS hosting this conclave? Our experience in corporate volunteering and driving initiatives allows us to understand this space. We'd like to share our practices and learnings in this incredible journey. We welcome you to join us for insightful conversations and more. Now we have our President of Youth for Seva between us, very fondly known as NATS. Natarajan Ranganathan sir is the founder of Foundation Partners, a corporate and venture capital advisory firm since 2018, 30 plus years of experience in the VCPE industry and large technology companies. Advisor to early to mid-stage companies and early-stage funds, provides strategic advisory to early-stage companies and family businesses in scaling governance and profitability and fund management services for early-stage funds. He has been a trustee at Youth for Seva for the last 11 years. Over to you, sir. The stage is open to you for your opening remarks. Let us welcome him with a big round of applause, please.
Namaste. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have been with Youth for Seva now close to 15 years now. Okay, and I think me and Venkatesh used to chat this that I actually joined as a volunteer, right, 15 years ago, and then I moved to advisory board. Then I moved as a trustee. So I'll tell you how this Youth for Seva, the concept itself came up. I think first me and Venkatesh met in Teach India movement in Times of India, right? 15 years ago, Times of India organized Teach India movement, and in that one of the Sunday evenings it was, okay, about 5ish, okay. So I was just there and I was just hanging out, and Venkatesh and there was another trustee. He is not with us now. He is called Mahesh, and so they were also hanging out. So then we were just asking, oh, what are we doing here? Then we said that, oh, I think this is coming. So then both Venkatesh and Mahesh said that I was at the time, I was a managing director at Helion Ventures. It was one of the venture capital firm. We are the first venture capital firm in India. And they came to our office, and we actually started with this Vidya Chaitanya program. And this is basically for helping children to pursue the school in a much better way. So our initial thesis, what Venkatesh and Mahesh were having, is basically pick up children from the government school and put them in a better private school. And this is between standard 4 to standard 7. That was Venkat, is it correct? Right? That is how we started. Then we quickly realized that, how do we scale this? Okay? How do we scale this much beyond education? And when we were brainstorming, that is how this concept came up. Okay? We realized that there were a lot of youth in the corporate world, right? And even non-corporate world, who are really wanting to contribute to the society, but they don't know how to do it. So we thought that we can be that platform, right? On those days, 2008, there was no concept called platform and all that. Okay, we thought, I think a lot of these platforms, buyers come, sellers come, all that. But I think on those days there was no such stuff. So we used to go to individual corporate companies. On those days, only the IT companies, Wipro, TCS, Cognizant, all these IT companies only we used to go. And I think Mahesh and Venkatesh was with AMC Square, and I think, so we had a lot of connects in the IT stuff, and I think we used to go, and then we were very terribly excited that I think there are a lot of people who are really wanting to contribute and they did not know how to contribute. Okay, that is how we started, and we coined this as Youth for Seva. Okay, and we have been doing it for last 15 years now, and we are not a typical NGO, right? We are specialized in volunteering. So what does it mean is, we are wanting to channelize the youth energy in contributing to the society. Okay, so we have been doing with initially while it started with IT companies and all that, then quickly then we went to Cisco and EMC, many fellows, right? Then we quickly ventured into non-IT places like Deloitte, like HSBC, like PW. So several of the non-IT companies, right? So what I think we have gained knowledge in the last 13, 14, 15 years is we are also getting a lot of innovative ideas of volunteering. Right? It is not that, in fact, I used to tell that in earlier talks that when we started, how do we get volunteers, right? We used to go and ask somebody saying that, oh, we want to sponsor education of children, can you sponsor? So Mr. X will say, okay, no problem, I'll sponsor 2 children, I'll sponsor 3 children, right? Then we go to Y. Y will say that, no, I cannot, I don't have any money. Then we immediately point out saying that, no, don't worry, can you spend 2 hours in a week? So nobody in their good minds will refuse that, right? So we say, okay, fine, please join us as a volunteer, right? And then the guy joins, and then we tell them that can you teach English, can you teach maths, can you teach Kannada, can you teach Tamil, like that, right? Then that is how it was growing, right? Then we thought that we should do it in an organized way. Then we went to the corporates. In a corporate, what is the big advantage? We have 1,000 employees, 2,000 employees, 10,000 employees. It is easy to get more people to be volunteering, right? That is the next one. Then we started something called a Doctor for Seva. Okay, this is another interesting thing. So then we go to Mr. Rizal, right? We asked him. Then he said, "Oh, I am a doctor." Then we are just thinking that why can't we start something called Doctor for Seva? Okay, so some of our Doctor for Seva members have gone and helped in this Kumbh Mela and all that. Okay, last few years. So I think we have now institutionalized the volunteering, right? Today we are also going to launch a book where we are going to say, we are trying to put 101 ideas. I think 87 or 88 has come. Okay, so I think that book is going to be launched and it will be a very good handbook to the corporates in engaging the volunteering movement. And one last thing I just wanted to tell you that during COVID time, this corporate volunteering took a little backseat because I think everybody were really worried what happened to me before even volunteering, right? So I think that is now coming back, and in the last 1 year and this year, we see a lot of corporate volunteering opportunities coming up, and there are a lot of corporates who are really wanting to engage with their employees. This is the biggest talking point for the corporate HR when they talk to their employees, because they also want to have a holistic engagement of the employees, right? So volunteering, corporate volunteering, social service is a very big part of that. So our book, what we are going to launch, it is going to have some 87, 88 ideas, I think, of volunteer. What are the various ways of doing volunteering, and that will really help you guys. And we are very proud to just say that we'll be very happy to engage with every corporate. We are not in the any money-making stuff, and we are not in a typical NGO stuff. We want to have this as a momentum. We want to create like an institution for volunteering, so that and also one more small point is that compared to 15 years back, now the maturity of the employees, the maturity of the corporates have come up significantly up. So what happens is that corporates welcome, employees want to participate, so we are at a right inflection time to take it to the next level. We are in the 4th conclave, we have done 3 conclaves earlier, this is the 4th conclave, and I must thank all of you to just join here and then make this as a very big success. Thank you.
Thank you so much for setting the tone for the day, sir. Thank you so much once again. It was a pleasure listening to you. Up next, we have Dr. Sreenath NS, the Managing Director of India at Merck. Sir is an astute, diligent and innovative professional with over 31 years of experience with Merck Life Sciences, with exposure in various portfolios, including sales, marketing, technical services, project management, operations management, and general management. As a leader in the business, Sir has successfully deployed key account management in sales, created best business practices to improve efficiency. In his role as Managing Director for Merck Life Sciences in India, Sreenath Sir is a part of a growing team while guiding them with the deep knowledge he has about the business of life sciences in India. It is a pleasure to have you with us this morning, sir. May I kindly request you to present the keynote address.
Good morning, Youth for Seva. Am I audible? Yes. Because I was able to hear some echo initially when the program started. It is a pleasure to be here today, especially first time I'm here with Youth for Seva. In fact, in the last 1 month, I have been interacting and I heard the kind of work what you have been doing for the noble cause. Just to give a glimpse about what Merck Life Sciences and why this guy is standing here. So, we are a life science company. We are a 355-year-old German company, 60,000 employees globally, and in India we are around 4,000 employees. We have 3 divisions. Life science is the largest, followed by healthcare and electronics. In life science, we provide tools and technologies to manufacture all the vaccines, including COVID. We supported 85 globally COVID manufacturing companies, including Serum and Bharat Biotech, to make the kind of product, starting from the raw material, tools, technologies, consumables, and till the final finish and release of the product. We are there throughout the journey, and all the vaccines, because it is the immunization program, the DPT or the hepatitis B, hepatitis E, alpha interferon, name the vaccines, we are there. And more importantly, today, what the world requires is on the monoclonal antibodies, which is nothing but the anti-cancer drug. So we are the pioneers, and we still invest close to 7% of our overall profitability back into the R&D, because there is something which we constantly keep innovating for the future, because the healthcare domain is in such a way. So this is about life science. Healthcare, we have 4 different divisions. Biggest is oncology. We also make onco products. Second is fertility. The third one is cardio. The fourth one is neuro. In the electronics, we are the largest suppliers of raw material for the integrated circuit manufacturing, and we are also the largest supplier for the cosmetic industry, like L'Oreal's of the world, and again, we are the original inventors of liquid crystal. So this is about the organization, and again, it's a wonderful experience to be here. The reason is, I studied in Ramakrishna Ashram, and today I see Swami Vivekananda's message being read out loud and clear. And for me, I stand for that. And from the corporate, the reason why I'm here is, from the corporate, from morning I keep hearing that we need to spending 2%. How wisely we spend. And intents are good, but intent alone will not lead us to the destiny, because intent is required. But the journey, what we travel through the intent, is something extremely important. And CSR is very loosely held, because I have witnessed the best of the best CSR projects, and I've also witnessed some of the projects which we have invested with probably zero impact. The reason being, because probably the monitoring, somebody, the NGO behind it, or else the larger purpose over a period of time. Will be able to really map it for a period of time, because you spend on the year 1 because you are supposed to, or else again, in fact, last 2 years, the kind of projects what was coming to the table, I suggested we better give it back to the PM fund than to be investing on this. So we paid crores of rupees back to the PM fund, because we could not really come up with real good intent, because there are so many issues in the country, but we do not have the right partners, and Youth for Seva probably could stand up and see where is this gap and how can we fill it. On one side, there is a will from the corporate, and on the other side, Youth for Seva has a good intent. And how do you bring in these two and bridge this gap and see that there is a social impact? It's a flip side. On one side, I see that 2% across India. Just imagine, there are many surveys and many numbers which comes in what is the total CSR spent in the country. But are we able to bring in sufficient development or as an impact through this money? Many times not. At an organization level, when I'm not able to see, just imagine at the country level with the macroeconomics, will we be able to bring in that kind of impact? That is something which is noteworthy to see. I see on the other side very little money which is available for the kind of issues what we have in the country. Both are true. On one side, I said that we have a lot and we are not really able to spend wisely. On the other side, I say that for the kind of problems what we have in the country, we have very little money and a lot of problems. So what my request, humble request, because I have been going through this journey for at least 5 years from now, year on year, scrutinizing the kind of projects what we dwell and what we look at it, because ultimately I look for an impact on for the social cause. Just recently, just a week back, again, I'm proud to say that for construction of Viveka Smaraka at Mysore by Ramakrishna Ashram, we are donating 3.27 crores to build 8 classrooms. The reason is the history of Ramakrishna Mission. Not even one penny goes unaccounted or else goes haywire. The second one is the mission of upskilling 20,000 students and 5,000 homemakers every year. This is the kind of impact what we see, and 3.5 crores is nothing to see that kind of impact. We just constructed one auditorium for a girls' pre-university college at Malleshwaram, which is a government college. Just 6 months back we completed that. Here I see girls not able to pay even 200 rupees as a school fee, and many times they faint in the afternoon without even having a midday meal. This happens in a city like Bengaluru, that too in a place like Malleshwaram, because the catchment is from the rural Bengaluru. And they didn't even have a place for them to sit and have their lunch or else to have any extracurricular activities. Spent little more than 1.5 crores just to build an auditorium for the kids, which will stand for next 100 years. So my request with Youth for Seva, because now you are a major bridge between the corporates, because I did hear the impact what you can bring in, and the society which is in need. We stand by for 3, and most of the corporates, again, they stand for 3 causes. First is education, because that's a manifestation what we really wanted to see in this country, and especially in the rural areas. Like, again, I heard Dr. Balu, who is my mentor from last 30 years, from my PU days, I speak to him, I consult him on a lot of corporate issues. And in fact, I had invited Dr. Balu during the peak COVID to speak to our employees on giving back to the country. And it was an amazing, amazing experience what we had. So, just to conclude, we from corporate really look for impactful projects. We look for good partners with a real good social intent. And the 3 areas where we look for is, first is education, the second one is healthcare, the third one is sustainability. Sustainability is still a lot of work need to be done in the country. Of course, India is in the forefront from the energy sector, but energy is one of the aspects. There's a lot more, starting from probably rejuvenating our lakes or else looking at other sustainable work, because I came across one of the corporates where they look at replacing the wood in the cooking and saving so much of carbon emission in the environment. And they are already having a multiplication effect on this year on year, and it's amazing. So anything what we from the corporate we would like to do, we would like to see, because one is an impact, and next is probably a very clear roadmap and a sustenance of those projects, not only for the short term but for the long term, because the projects will go good till the year you support that project, and the minute you take away your focus, again it slowly starts faltering, and over a period of time it crumbles. So I'm happy to be here, and we are more than happy to let you know in case if there is really a good cause, we stand by, and we would like to partner with you, and thank you very much for having me here.
The Companies Act mandates corporate social responsibility, but anything mandatory cannot become voluntary. The whole idea of corporate volunteering conclave is promoting volunteerism, the spirit of volunteerism. Thank you so much, sir, for those kind words. It was a pleasure listening to you. So let the volunteering spirit be the bridging element between the corporate and the community. Thank you so much once again, sir. So now that you've spoken much about corporate volunteering, community development, etc., we have a unique thing presenting before you. that is Corporate Volunteering Ideas book, named as Doing Good, Feeling Great, Impactful Ideas for Corporate Volunteering, presenting before you by Youth for Seva. This booklet is a culmination of all the ideas that we have explored in our endeavor to keep corporate volunteers meaningfully engaged. We believe these can be immensely beneficial to various corporations and other NGOs working in the space. So we have our own mentor and founder of Youth for Seva to give an intro about this book. So let me take a privilege in introducing sir before you all. As it is said in the Gita, the meaning of life is to serve humanity. This quote has been a guiding force for him in his pursuit of creating positive change in the world. He strongly believes that spirituality can help shape one's approach to service, instilling qualities of humanity, empathy, and purpose in one's actions. This ultimately leads to a more compassionate and effective approach to community work. At Youth for Seva, through our community service, NGO partnerships and CSR initiatives, we aim to empower and inspire young people to take on meaningful projects that can make a difference in their communities. So let us listen to him from the man himself. Over to you, sir.
Elrigu namaskara. In the last 16 years, we have seen a huge change in the corporate sector, especially when it comes to employee volunteering. As Nats mentioned, in 2007, 8, 9, we literally had to beg companies that why they should encourage employees to volunteer. And in the last 7, 8 years, there has been a big shift. A lot of IT companies have a mandate, but as Purti said, mandatory and volunteering are opposite actually. When something is a mandate, it also looks like it is enforced. While at the corporate level there is a policy that they want to see a big percentage of employees volunteer, it's also important that we provide meaningful opportunities. And people who are in charge of CSR know the kind of demands from the employees. One day a team will come and say that our team of 30 employees want to volunteer. And they said, last month we volunteered in orphanage. Can we go to old age home this time? Last month we went to old age home. Can we go to a special school? We did education project. Can we volunteer for environment? So the variety that the employees are expecting is sometimes very difficult to match. And also in terms of maturity, some of the companies are just at the checkbox level. We want to do employee volunteering, we have done it. And many times they are not even looking at the impact, what Dr. Sreenath talked about. It's not only about the money spent in CSR, even the employee volunteering. Can we look at impact rather than just as a team outing, team building activity? Those are the byproducts. But really we need to be looking at impact. Otherwise in some companies we see that we have just started into corporate volunteering. The kind of questions we ask are more around making employees happy. If you are going to volunteer in a government school, what is a nearby restaurant for lunch? Can you send the menu items in the lunch? And when we send a menu item, one company said, will they serve green chutney or red chutney? So we are still in that mindset of how do I make employees happy? From there, if you can think of volunteering as something that actually takes the employees out of their comfort zone, bring them out of the comfort zone, let them see the society's reality. Because that exposure is what initiates compassion. Just like in the journey of Gautam Buddha we saw, right? Only when Prince Siddhartha saw the reality, when he saw a sick person, an old man, a dead body, then the reflection started. So we need to remember that the employee volunteering is to give them the exposure to the reality and then facilitate reflections. So while all these variety of requests are there, it is also good. And often CSR heads struggle because this is not their core competency to provide variety of volunteering opportunities. And we thought if we can provide that kind of a menu, what are the opportunities in education, in healthcare, in environment, in disability, rural development, different domains, how employees can volunteer. And also, what are the options if they want to volunteer within the campus? or if they want to go on the field. What are the options if it is half day or 1 day or recurring events for 3-4 months they want to volunteer. So all the variety of opportunities we really want to present it in a book, and this is a work that is going to grow. We were aiming at 100 ideas, but I think we ended up at 87 or something like that. I think this book is going to grow. One request for all of you is that all of you who are involved in employee volunteering, go through this book and suggest your own ideas of something that is not there in the book but you have tried it. Let's collectively build this book. It will be a soft version, and the more we create the resources and toolkits, I think more impactful the employee volunteering will be. So this is a very important milestone of creating resources. So in the afternoon we are also going to launch the online course also, because we believe that no one organization can really fulfill the demand. So at YFS, whatever experience we got, we really want to share it with the world, with other NGOs and other corporates, and this book is a step in that direction. And I now request the dignitaries to release this book. Thank you so much.
Sadhguru says, balance your soul and role. Role by being responsible for your health, wealth and relation, and soul by satsang, sadhana and seva. Thank you so much for re-emphasizing on those words by taking the example of Gautam Buddha, sir. Thank you so much once again. And can we have a round of applause on the book being released? Up next, I take immense privilege in introducing our next guest, Deepak Prabhu Mati. Sir is a proven leader with 27 plus years of experience in corporate social responsibility, employee volunteering, business operations and IT program management. His career stints include 8 years in Wipro, followed by 18 years in Cognizant. Sir is a passionate visionary, detail-oriented professional with experience in strategy definition and execution, adept at getting things done, as he says, building high-performance teams in a leadership pipeline. It is an honor to have you amidst us this morning, sir. Over to you to address the gathering, please.
I particularly live and die by PowerPoint, so I'm waiting for the PowerPoint. And the other dignitaries, I don't know, they will not be able to appreciate the PowerPoint, but hopefully my talk will give a sense, unless we rearrange the seating. Okay. Is this the wrong presentation? No. The video iPod is there for a specific reason. Back in 2006, when Cognizant reached the 1 billion revenue mark, all the 15,000 employees who were working in Cognizant at that point got a video iPod as a gift. And this is my gift. which I still have. It's not switching on, probably the battery is drained out. I didn't use it for the last 3 years. All right, great. It was a fancy thing at that point in time because the previous generation was Walkman, and here was an iPod where you sort of use the wheel and get to the song and enjoy the music. And so it was 2006 where Cognizant hit the 1 billion revenue mark. Just 1 year later, in 2007, Cognizant doubled its revenues to hit the 2 billion revenue mark. And we were dreaming about what is the next gift that we will get. And at that point in time, Apple had released the iPad, probably the first generation, I think. And all of us were pretty sure that we will get an iPad to enjoy the Apple experience and transition from the iPod to the iPad. But then Cognizant chose to do a different thing. They did not give an iPad, let alone anything else. They used that occasion and chose to launch Cognizant's employee volunteering program, Cognizant Outreach. And it was not a spur of the moment decision, I think, in hindsight, because the company was observing several employees sparing their time during their free hours and doing certain things in their own sweet, small way. Like for example, like the example that Venkatesh Murthy gave, going to a nearby orphanage, old age home, because people were in Chennai, Bangalore, in the cities, they came from tier 2, tier 3 towns, they are probably missing the grandparents, so why not go to a nearby old age home and spend time with the senior citizens there. And variety of things, including somebody trying to fix a set of computers in a suburban Chennai school and then teaching computers, leading to everybody passing in a computer test in the school in the 10th grade. So there was all these occurrences that were happening, and these were all documented in the Cognizant's then blogging platform called Channel One Blogs. And the company at that point decided that why not put the might of the company in terms of some basic funding and all the logistics, administration and other financial support. And that's where Cognizant Outreach was born in 2007. Of course, today in my role, I'm here as the CEO of Cognizant Foundation, which is a, as you can imagine, a grant-giving organization to various partner NGOs who propose several projects in areas like education, skilling, and healthcare. Sorry. So, as we all know, and this is a no-brainer, in India we have infinite opportunities to contribute to social causes, and there are limitless possibilities, and that's kind of the basis of my talk today. While there are infinite opportunities and limitless possibilities, it's not right to work without a strategy in place. And there are various choices, and you can be everywhere, and at the end of the year or at the end of the day feel that you have probably not done anything much because you have spread yourself too thin. And this is a particular quote that I picked up from Michael Porter. The essence of strategy is choosing what not to do. Right? There are so many things to do, but can you figure out what exactly to do? And in this context, I remember something that one of my previous bosses said. What is Nike known for? Okay, everybody says shoes. Okay, but they also manufacture sweatshirts, and caps, water bottles, and various other things. Right? What is Starbucks known for? It's known for coffee. But do they only produce coffee? No, they have sandwiches, burgers, and various snacks, tea, and so on. But they're known for one specific thing, right? So, as a corporate or as an NGO, figure out what you need to be known for or what you would like to be known for. That was the message that was drilled by one of my ex-bosses. And that's where in, I think, 2020, we started to look at, let's develop a strategy, and we coined a purpose, which is improve everyday life. This was borrowed from the Cognizant purpose of engineer modern businesses to improve everyday life, which became the social purpose of the company, which is improve everyday life. There were two focus areas: support inclusion in tech and community impact. And there were 5 themes, as you can see: education, skilling, digital empowerment, environment, and passion. And then 5 programs aligned to those 5 themes, and multiple vehicles or beneficiaries that will be getting impacted. And what happens? The multiplier effect of adoption of technology, proliferation of STEM knowledge, and our employees and families adopting a low carbon lifestyle and developing empathy. All of this is great, but it won't work unless there is a value proposition to the organization which is supporting it. And we did an analysis to figure out, hey, okay, there are so many thousands of volunteers who are volunteering, but is there some value proposition for the company? Of course, the obvious one is the elevated branding that the company gets as a socially conscious company in the ecosystem. But we also realized that people who volunteer were staying longer in the company, which meant that there's a lesser churn or attrition problem for the company to manage. And that was proven by a very professional analysis that was done internally by HR. So my 2 points here is: one, work with a strategy, but more importantly, ensure you are clear what not to do, and make sure that there is a value proposition for the organization to support the volunteering program in the years to come. And by the way, last year, Cognizant Outreach engaged 52,000 plus volunteers who contributed about 1 lakh plus volunteering hours in 38 countries. This is a global program. Event-based volunteering. International Women's Day is coming up, right? There are many programs around International Volunteering Day. June 5th, World Environment Day. There will be many programs around World Environment Day. All that is great, right? It is an initiation for some people to get engaged, although specific to the event. But what I am going to actually bring up is opportunities for impactful volunteering, and that's the theme of the conclave today. And so in the Inclusion in Tech program, I want to bring up this example, and these are examples of impactful volunteering designed by the volunteers in collaboration with our partners and executed on the ground. And here is a case of a village about 120 kilometers from Hyderabad called Damakonda. And one of the employees, I think he's there right at the back with hands folded, he mentioned, he brought out a problem that there are a lot of people studying in his hometown but are not able to get into jobs. And they are studying in the Telangana Social Welfare Residential Education Institution Society. And these are residential schools for the girls. So that's and collaboration comes to the fore here, where the volunteers then picked up that cause, that problem statement, collaborated with HR, and decided that they will train the students in employability training, leading to them clearing the AMCAT program, which is a basic entry test to get into some of the business process services jobs in the IT industry. And every weekend, volunteers, a group of volunteers used to visit this particular school and then train the children. And so far, there have been about 150 plus students who have graduated, cleared the AMCAT, and are now in jobs at Cognizant. And this number is growing. This is the power of volunteering. Now, no CSR, right? There's no money involved here except for some incidental expenses that the company bears. But otherwise, no, there's no grant to the NGO as such, purely volunteer driven. Next, please. Cognizant being an IT company, the sweet spot is figuring out how do you enable the non-profit sector or the NGO sector to adopt technology. In that context, COVID-19 gave a lot of opportunities, and one of them came from UK particularly, where there's a person who needs help, there's a person who can provide the help, and there's a person who doesn't need help, nor can provide help, but can provide monetary support. And during COVID-19, the team in UK developed a COVID-19 platform, which brought all the three people together, and it is implemented in many regions in UK and outside of UK. Next, please. Again, collaboration to the fore, COVID-19 related project. Teachers had to overnight adopt the digital platform for teaching, but they had no content, right? And they had no prior experience at teaching via digital mediums. So here in collaboration with Nirman, an organization based in Hyderabad, we tied up with Adobe. And Adobe has a tool called Adobe Spark. The licenses are provided free of cost by Adobe. And close to 5,800 teachers were trained to utilize Adobe Spark for creating interactive content. Now, what they were earlier doing, they were trying to put together certain images and certain pictures, video, text and so on into a Word document, which, as you would imagine, a student experience is pretty bad when a teacher is using a Word document to teach. And Adobe Spark is an interactive website that can be created on the fly by teachers who received about 3 to 4 weeks of coaching by volunteers entirely. 5,800 teachers were coached by volunteers to use the software, and several thousands of websites were created aligned to the syllabus that the teachers were running. Again, IT skills to the fore. A Maher and NGO, primarily operating in Pune and Maharashtra. And again, a collaboration with Salesforce, one of our clients. And Salesforce has this non-profit service pack that they give out 10 licenses free of cost, but they don't help in the implementation. The non-profit service pack, for example, helps NGOs to improve their donor relationship and donor management, which is very, very crucial for them from continuing the partnership, and it supports them in fundraising, right? But they were struggling because Maher was using Excel sheets to run their donors, manage their donors and run their campaigns. And the Salesforce business unit in Cognizant decided to own this project, and they have implemented not only the Salesforce non-profit service pack for Maher, but also several other charities within India and outside of India as well. So that's the power of volunteering, where you are utilizing their talent to support the ecosystem. The last one, inclusion is very, very an important topic and a key theme, a tenet of everything that we do at Cognizant. And here is a case where there were several persons with disability, again struggling to get jobs because they didn't have the employability skills. And Cognizant volunteers conducted month-long workshops in our office premises, where a group of persons with disability used to come. and a few hours every day, interview skills, building their resume. HR used to conduct mock interviews, English communication, and all of that, and essentially soft skill, leading to about 43% of the attendees able to secure jobs in various companies, including Cognizant. So that's the impactful volunteering example that I also wanted to add on, where time, talent, and technology across all of these case studies that you see is brought to the table by the volunteers. How do we do this? We do some analysis as well, because not everybody wants to do event-based volunteering, not everybody wants to do impactful volunteering. There are some people in the middle as well, right? We came up, somebody told me about this concept of tourist, traveler and guide. And you know, in layman's term, tourist is somebody who has some spare time and some spare money, wants to go 1 or 2 days, blow up the money and time, and then have a good time, and probably never go back to that place. Traveler is somebody who goes there again because he loves the place and wants to experience. He wants to experience the food, the culture, talk to the people, talk to the local, and then come back rejuvenated and probably want to go back again. Guide is somebody who probably falls in love with the place, like for example a Dharamshala or somewhere in Kashmir or Pur, closer to home, and then decides to live there and become a guide for other tourists and travelers who come to that place, right? So we use that analogy for the volunteering base that we have. And it turned out that 80% of the volunteers fell in the category of the tourists because they were doing volunteering only once a year. And I think 17% fell in the category of travelers because they were doing volunteering 2 to 5 times a year. And guides were those who were doing more than 5 times a year. All right, that's great, that's a good insight. But what do we do about it? Now, guides are those who we can actually tap into to design programs along with various partners from the NGO sector as well as from other corporates. So who designed the Salesforce implementation or the Telangana Social Welfare School related project? It was basically the guide. Who is the traveler? How can we tap into the traveler's need or the aspiration to volunteer? By nominating him or her as the volunteering lead for a specific volunteering initiative or for a series of volunteering initiatives. And tourist is somebody who just comes and volunteers and then goes out, right? So that was something that was always playing in the mind when we wanted somebody for specific roles, which is either just come and volunteer or play a volunteering lead role or play a role where you can design the program. And that's something that we have constantly tried to use, and I would encourage you to also profile your employee volunteers into one of these 3 categories and utilize their aspiration accordingly. Next, please. We also keep track of the supply versus demand, and Venkatesh Murthy alluded to the demand. Supply is nothing but the choice of opportunity. So as a volunteering team, we have to be constantly looking at what are the choice of opportunities that are available out there. What can be my next big volunteering opportunity? Who are the NGO partners? Who are the corporates that I can tie up with? Versus demand, which is the need of opportunities expressed by the employee, right? You need to have a fine balance between demand versus supply. It's a fine art, of course. And but then you have to keep those two always into your perspective when you are running a employee volunteering program. Next, please. We do have a robust reward and recognition system that motivates volunteers to achieve larger goals. And there are multiple things, right? Based on the number of hours, there is a certain reward. Starts with as simple as a badge, to a cap, to a water bottle, to a diary, and many other things, right? and also based on the number of activities, the impact that you created by probably designing a program or by repeatedly getting engaged in a program, or the ownership that you took, and of course the program design, right? So all these 5 elements goes into shortlisting the volunteers for the reward and recognition. And yesterday night I took the opportunity, next slide, to look at what we have developed over the last 10 years. It's an internal app, so we don't have an app from the outside market or off the shelf. This was designed entirely internally, and this is my profile there. It talks about 350 hours, and I've participated in 160 volunteering activities. Okay, there's a certificate which I couldn't download for some reason. But the point is that volunteers know at any point in time through this app what are the volunteering opportunities available in their specific location. They can set preferences so that they can get alerts, and they can set goals as to I want to volunteer 100 hours this year or 10 in 12 activities this year, whatever the case may be, and there is a report that they can generate. Of course, the other important part here is that we enable employees to donate a sum of money as low as ₹100 towards a scholarship program that the volunteering team runs, and every year about 1,300, 1,400 students get the benefit of the scholarship money, which is donated by the employees as part of our payroll giving. So which means that I can go into the app and say I want to donate 500 every month, and it will be auto-deducted from payroll by our finance team, and that goes into a fund which is then disbursed to the student as scholarship grants. Next please. All right, I've talked about the volunteering angle, but which is of course my first love, but then I am in the role of the CEO of Cognizant Foundation. At Cognizant Foundation India, we are building a sustainable ecosystem at the intersection of technology, inclusion and collaboration. So in any of the CSR projects, we tend to look at is there a technology component involved? Is there an inclusion involved? And are we collaborating with partners? Of course, all the interventions are focused on the marginalized, especially girls, women, and persons with disability as much as possible. What are our 2 broad program themes? Health for all and future for all. Of course, in Health for All, we have 3 programs. One focusing on avoidable blindness, second on maternal and child health, and third is on early intervention for children with special needs. And in Future for All, it's all about scholarships for girls and persons with disability. For now, we are supporting about 1,400 scholarships for visually impaired and about 1,000 odd for other students. And STEAM education, and currently we run a few programs to improve the math learning outcome and science learning outcome in government schools. And the third is all about skilling. Many of them are IT skilling because Cognizant is in that space and we want to add talent to the marketplace so that other companies also take the benefit. But we also support a lot of skilling for persons with disability as well as certain vocational programs in the healthcare space. While we run programs to support avoidable blindness, maternal and child health and early intervention, like I said, we also feel that we have a responsibility towards enabling and adding to the healthcare workforce. Therefore, there are programs to support a 2-year diploma program for vision technician, nursing, general duty assistant and so on. Now, this is a very core piece that I felt, and we have managed to start off some collaboration. Volunteering and CSR grant giving should ideally go together because the impact can be very profound by being together. It can lead to better outcomes. So do not treat, and this is my humble request, do not treat volunteering and grant giving as two different arms of social impact in your company. Always ensure that there are volunteers who are supporting and volunteering in your CSR projects, of course they can volunteer beyond that much more. Alright, the QR code takes you to the Cognizant Foundation India website if you want to know more. On a lighter note, while I was preparing for this presentation yesterday and today, my wife was saying, you are looking at that woman for a long time, while I was going up and down the slide. So I end with, if not us, who? If not now, when? Famous words by John Kennedy. And we have a very, very super important role to play in this, in the scope of volunteering and grant giving. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
So may I kindly request you to please stay with us on stage. Excuse me. So from morning we've been talking about what to do, corporate volunteering, why to do, we have plenty of reasons. Sir has thrown light on how to do. Thank you so much, sir, ranging from education to skill, from digital empowerment to event-based volunteering. Thank you so much for throwing light on how to create, recreate and accelerate community impact. Thank you so much once again. Atithi Devo Bhava is the essence of Indian culture, it is the essence of Indianity. So now I would like to request Sri Jagdish Mayaji to join us on stage to present mementos and gift box to our esteemed guests for the morning. May I kindly request the volunteers to please facilitate. A big round of applause to Deepak Prabhu, Chief Executive Officer at Cognizant Foundation. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, sir. Up next, we have Dr. Sreenath NS, Managing Director, India at Merck. Thank you so much for your esteemed presence, sir. Youth for Seva extends its heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Ramesh Babu HS, the Principal of RNS Institute of Technology, for extending their arms to make this event a grand success. Thank you so much for your presence this morning, sir. Thank you so much, Jagdish Mayaji. So with this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. I take privilege in welcoming Shri Unikrishnan Menon, the General Secretary of Youth for Seva, to propose word of thanks. Please, sir.
Good morning. I think it's been a wonderful way to kick-start the session and the opening session of the Corporate Volunteering Conclave. I'd start with thanking Dr. Sreenath. Thank you very much for your presence and sharing with us. I think truly we would, I'd just like to add, just like the innovation that you all do at Merck, we also believe that we do a lot of innovation in the space of volunteering. So thank you for your insights. It's truly inspiring. Deepak, very practical, useful, insights that you shared. And I think very focused on the corporate volunteering space specifically, and the themes that you touched upon in terms of infinite opportunities and limitless possibilities. And I think another thing that we at YSS very closely reflect on or connect with was what you talked about, the volunteering journey. You talked about the tourist, the traveler, and the guide. That's something that we're very closely working on, because we see the life cycle of the volunteers really important, and we realize the importance of continuous engagement with them. So thank you very much for that. Hopefully in the presentation that you make in the next, we will also see some strong program projects that you do, which are initiated by either with YSS or with partners that you meet at the conclave today. Thank you very much for that. We are deeply honored to have this opportunity to work with all of you all and coming together with all of you all, representatives from corporates, NGOs and other stakeholders in the space to share we all have a shared common goal in terms of making a positive impact on the communities around us through again, something what Deepak just talked about, putting together or combining something which is mandatory, which is a CSR contribution, and I think something which is very close to all our hearts in terms of making volunteering, making volunteering successful. It's a great way to engage with our with our team, with our employees, and also being able to give back to society. Thank each one of you all. Of course, I would not. Like I said, my role is to do the Thanksgiving session only for this particular session. Otherwise, we have a very big, long list of folks to thank. I would, of course, I'd be failing my duty if I do not place on record our thanks to the RNS management. It's a beautiful place. Thank you for having us and extending your warm welcome and hospitality to us. Of course, thank you, as always, all others, our partners, including WMG. I know we have Rajesh Shrikara and a whole bunch of friends from WMG here, plus each and every one of you all from YFS for making this happen, working tirelessly over the years, over the months to make this happen. We've had some last minute challenges, and of course, thank you. Somebody that we normally miss out most of the thanks is the MC for today. Spooty, thank you very much for doing this and running this through smoothly. We look forward to a continued interaction and participation from you all through the rest of the day, and indeed, for the months and years to come. I think we have a lot to do. We have been privileged to work with all of you all, and with that, we also have a responsibility cast on us. We look forward to taking that seriously and engaging with you all in the years to come. Thank you very much. God bless all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. So with this, we come to the conclusion of the inaugural ceremony of Corporate Volunteering Conclave 2024. So thank you so much, one and all. So I have a few instructions to be given before we break for coffee. Next session will be starting by 11:45, that is technical session 1, which will be a panel discussion on building an effective ecosystem for corporate volunteering. We will have a panel discussion. And we have stalls set up by the NGOs in front of the auditorium. You can all please visit the stalls. As well, the book that just got released here on the stage will be available at the registration desk, free of cost for all the delegates from individual corporate entities. So I always keep telling, ಕನ್ನಡ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಂಡಾಡೋದು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಂಡು ಆಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So we have praised the book a lot on stage. Now it's time for us to take the book and assimilate the content in it. So request you all to kindly collect your copies from the registration desk. And thank you so much for all the delegates and the dignitaries on the dais as well. We shall now break for coffee and assemble back in the auditorium by 11:45. And this is to bring to your kind attention that no food and beverages are allowed inside the auditorium. Kindly maintain the decorum. So now let's all break for the coffee, because a lot can happen over a cup of coffee. Thank you so much. Your kind attention please to everyone who is outside the auditorium. Requesting you all to kindly assemble inside the auditorium. We will be starting with the technical session 1 shortly. ಸಭಾಂಗಣದ ಹೊರಗಿರುವಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಂದು ಆಸೀನರಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಈ ಮೂಲಕ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಸೆಷನ್ 1 ಇನ್ನೇನು ಶುರು ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. May I have the kind attention of the volunteers please, requesting you all to please send the delegates into the auditorium. We will be starting with the session shortly. Kind attention to the volunteers, requesting you all to kindly send the delegates into the auditorium. We will be starting with the session shortly. Welcome you all again. This is the first technical session of the Corporate Volunteering Conclave 2024, which is a panel discussion on building an effective ecosystem for corporate volunteering. So before we get started with the session, I have a rhetoric question before you all. Okay, now that I said question, I can think of something. We've always been instructed to question the government, question the system, question what the politicians are doing, question what he is doing, question what she is doing, and recently the schools are also instructing kids to question. So now that we are all questioning the system, is it not high time that we question ourselves? Because Martin Luther King Jr. says, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So here we present before you this panel discussion to answer the question on what you are doing to the community. Panel discussion on building an effective ecosystem for corporate volunteering. It's high time that we question ourselves and raise up for the occasion to facilitate the lives and make others' lives better. So as stakeholders of the entire community, what is my responsibility, what is your responsibility, and what is our responsibility as a whole needs to be addressed. So I take immense privilege in introducing our panelists and moderator for the day's discussion. Our moderator for the discussion is Sri Ramesh Balasundram. Can we have sir on the dais with a big round of applause, please? Sir is a senior professional and organizational catalyst with a passion for driving innovation in diverse sectors, including but not limited to corporates, the citizen sector and the government. So may I kindly request you please occupy the seat. He is the co-founder and director of BAL Utsav and a former consultant to the Karnataka Knowledge Commission, Government of Karnataka, a high-powered commission constituted under the chairmanship of renowned space scientist Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan. The commission works with and for the government in policy making and implementation. Ramesh Balasundaram grew up in Karnataka and has travelled to most parts of the country. He is into entrepreneurship, travel, languages, art, architecture, photography, reading, music and swimming. So we are very privileged to have you as a moderator this morning, sir. Heartily welcome to you. We have other panelists joining us here on the dais. Sri Naveen, CSR in charge of Samarthanam International. Can we please have you on stage, sir? I guess we all had coffee, right? Coffee is supposed to boost the energy, but I don't see energy in the crowd here. Can we have a big round of applause again, please? Up next, we have Arun Satyendranathan, partner, non-profit advisory unit, Sattva. Haripriya Shivaramakrishnan, corporate citizenship lead, State Street, Bengaluru. Shashikala RN, VO, Bengaluru South. Manjunath Madaya, Operations Manager, LSEG, Bangalore. So ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, let us all welcome the dignitaries on the dais who will be discussing on building an effective ecosystem for corporate volunteering. I hand over the mic to Sri Ramesh Balasundaram. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you for having us here. This is possibly amongst the most diverse bunch of panelists that you're going to see. 5 different people representing extremely diverse facets of.
To everyone in the audience, your kind attention please. Car number KA03NP4564. I repeat again, car number KA03NP4564. The owner is requested to kindly go to the parking lot and get the car removed because it is causing a little trouble to others. So your kind attention please. Thank you so much and sorry for the troubles.
I was saying this is possibly amongst the most diverse bunch of panelists that we're going to be talking to. 5 different people representing 5 different facets of volunteering. Manjunath representing individual volunteering with a long history of having volunteered for over 12 years. Haripriya from State Street representing the corporate volunteering side of it. Naveen from Samarthanam who will be talking about it from an NGO perspective and what they've done to enable volunteering. Dr. Shashikala from the Department of Education, Government of Karnataka, who will be talking about public schools and the role volunteering can play in public schools. And Arun from Satwa, who will be giving us diverse perspectives. He's worn many hats. He's worked with the corporates, the NGO, and now in the consulting role. So over the next 60 to 75 minutes, I'm happy to have a free-wheeling chat with all of them. This is also a very interesting time to be sitting up on stage, because we are typically holding you between having coffee and having lunch, right? So the ability to keep you awake and the ability to hold off lunch is an interesting phenomenon. But where we'll get started with is perhaps get started with Manjunath, who we want to hear from you, Manjunath, on what's been your personal motivation, right? What drives you to engage in volunteering and your journey in this field for the last decade plus?
Am I audible? Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity, sir. So let me talk something even before the journey. I want to say a few words about Youth for Seva. So I've been associated with Youth for Seva for the last, I would say, 12 to 13 years. I think my inspiration, I would like to call out Venkatesh ji, because Youth for Seva started in 2007. Immediately after 5 years is when I joined, and where I was able to see myself, okay, what I'm doing. So if I want to take a famous quote from Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself with others, right? So one way, like where I was just entered the corporate, and when I started with the induction program that time, one question that came into my mind, so what I'm doing here? So is there any opportunity that I can bring some positive change in the society? So the last 12 years of journey itself says that, okay, I am doing something to the society, right? So when I started with the first event I can recall is trying to talk about spoken English to the kids in the government school. So initially I felt that, am I doing the right thing? So once I hear from one of the story where one of the students came back and said that he was scoring before the volunteering aspect, which started from me. So he was scoring around 40 to 50. When I started going to the school on a weekend, that was a Saturday when I used to spend 2 hours in the class, he came back and said that, okay sir, because of you, I was able to score from 40 to almost 75 to 80 score. So that itself is a trigger point for me, and that's making me to go all the way from then to now, almost 13 years. So this is when it comes to the school front. Coming to my corporate world, right? I work with a company called London Stock Exchange Group, and have been one of the key ambassadors for the CSR from my company, and also I represent Youth for Seva in my company, where I talk about what are the great initiatives that is being done by Youth for Seva, and I can mobilize volunteers from my company, right? So when I go and stand in front of various BUs, business unit heads, and talk about what I am privileged to do and how their team can impact the society, right? So starting from the various initiatives where we have adopted over 30 schools from our company in various rural sector. So how would that makes an impact for me as an individual? So I was very happy and thrilled, saying that, okay, being a corporate, in the corporate I was able to partner with one of the NGO which I have been closely associated. So as a positive change agent, it's not something that you alone can do something. Yes, definitely you can make an impact, but if you go with the group, you'll be able to make impact more. So as we all know, right, unity is strength. So when you start, the only thing is, the first thing is you need to start any journey with the first step. So which I started, and now it has become like a big people tree. So that's what I would like to say, that yes, as an individual I'm making a greater impact to the society, and I will continue to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Naveen, if I could hear you speak about some of the key initiatives with respect to volunteering at Samarthan, some of the pieces that we put together, the processes we have, some of the key volunteering initiatives which, one, end up getting a lot of volunteers involved, and two, look at high engagement of volunteers as well. Can we hear you speak about that, please?
Thank you for thank you. Hope I'm audible. Thank you for giving this opportunity on this dais. At Samarthanam, we have 7 diverse verticals that starts with education, rehabilitation, sports, arts, culture. Along with that, midday meal, that is we call as Vidya Prasad, and along with that we have environment, Sunada unit. So all these 7 diverse verticals has aligned with the SDGs, and many corporates who are with the SDGs, so they are looking to that in the perspective of it. And when we come to the numbers, each number, when we come to the education sector, so we have in the primary campus office, which is at HSR. So it's a huge campus, so where we can occupy up to 150 plus people at a go. And most of the corporates are also included in that. And we also believe that inclusivity in this is much more needed. And based on that, the diversifying unit which is increasing right now in the current part. So people need to get sensitized on the disability, because we majorly focus on disability. And also we have underprivileged students as well in that. And the LRC is one of the another biggest unit of Samarthanam, where the corporates does the volunteering. And this volunteering normally helps for their betterment of the skilling. It might be on the language, it might be on the resume preparation, tracking their interviews when they go for, after their training period, when they go for the interviews. So all these helps on that. And environment, again, the more number of people where we can occupy. So where we do this tree plantation, wall painting, vertical gardening, all these type of certain activities which we do, along with that black spots cleaning in certain areas where the more number of people which we can occupy on that. And along with that, we have done one of the biggest event called as, from past years we are doing this, it's called as Impact. So where a corporate with nearly about 25,000 volunteers will be involved. And many of you might be knowing we have a platform called as Sugamya Pustakalaya for the visually impaired. So for this, they have converted nearly about, over the past 3 years, nearly about 25,000 books they have converted for us. So this is the impact which has been given back to the society through all the initiatives which is being done through Samarthanam. And also the cricket. So last but not least, the cricket. Here, this is a sensitization activity, and lot more number of corporates who have been included in that, and they have been given the most opportunities to play. They get sensitized, they understand the rules and regulations on all these aspects, where overall the numbers being, there is a small vary of numbers in each and every activity, but overall Samarthanam in past year, that is the last financial year if I say, so 215 plus activities with nearly about 1,30,000 volunteering hours has been. That is the numbers which we have.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Naveen. If I could look at it from a State Street's perspective, what are processes or systems you brought to be able to enable volunteering? Can you speak to us a little about that?
Thank you, and a very happy Wednesday to all of you. It's been a privilege to be here. One, I wanted to thank Youth for Seva to get us all together here today. Second, RNS Institute, fabulous auditorium, great to get us all together under one roof. And morning session, kudos to the keynote speakers. I at least had so many takeaways to get back to my organization, so fabulous sessions. And had been, Venkatesh ji had come to our organization some time back, touching upon the book and the ideas. From then on, we have been counting to get this book and see how we can navigate through our challenges. So thank you so much, Venkatesh ji. And I really wanted to call out the way this was organized. So many organizers, right from getting us to this venue today. Kudos to all of you. And extremely privileged to be part of this panel. Such great change makers, so I'm extremely privileged to be part of this panel as well. Now, I am the program lead for State Street. State Street India Private Limited is an organization, it's a financial institute. We basically provide investment management, investment services, research services to our corporate entity. Our headquarters is in Boston. We're close to 40,000 employees across the globe. In India alone, we are 25,000 plus employees touching 7 cities across India. So that's what we are. For us, like many organization touches, we also have the grants and the CSR, the programs that we run as part of this. We also have the State Street Foundation, which is a global entity, and our core vision is focused on employability and education. These are our core themes. While, because our organization feels if people are able to earn and make a living, that's really going to change the community we serve in. While we do this, as part of volunteering, we also make sure our efforts are diversified. Like when I say diversified, we make sure the education or employability reaches to underserved communities, one. Second, work with people with disabilities, and we tie up a lot with Samarthanam and a lot of disability programs that we run for them. We also have started with LGBTQIA+. We do entrepreneurship program for them to make sure they are employable, which is not spoken a lot about. Women and girl children, particularly who do not get opportunity for education, is another core area that our organization serves into, and youth, and that is a lot more connected with Youth for Seva as well. While this has been our core theme, we also see how our employees can engage to make this change into our volunteering activities. Our theme runs under 3 volunteering aspects. One is skill-based programs, wherein we have a lot of skills, right? How do we enhance that skill and provide to the community we serve in? Then something called as corporate citizenship council, wherein we work locally, like each state, like Bengaluru works with the local communities and serve our local communities. And also, self-volunteering, like Mr. Manjunath, who does self-volunteering. A lot of employees do that. We encourage that also. Basically, under volunteering, our organization does 3 things. One is called do grants. If a particular employee is able to contribute 16 hours of volunteering to one particular NGO, the organization provides $500 to that just for volunteering. So we encourage doing that. Then we have something called as matching gift, wherein if you are able to contribute some amount, on your own, the organization matches that amount and gives to that particular NGO. Third is collect more funds. If the employee involves in some fundraising event and collects funds, organization matches that funds as well. So these are broader 3 things wherein we encourage our employees. We also provide 32 hours of volunteering leave. For our employees to go ahead and do these volunteering activities. Like morning, the speakers touched upon. Until we go and really serve our community, employees get connected. The connect is never going to happen, the change is never going to happen. That's the core theme that our organization works. And kudos to the team. It is we have a huge team, core team who does these volunteering and grants, and this is also done beyond the day-to-day activities. And great partnership with NGOs who come and bring such ideas, thoughts, so that we are able to navigate this journey. That's a quick, I would talk what we are doing.
Lovely.
Good morning, all. Hope you are all witnessing a wonderful stage created by Youth for Seva, especially to focus on voluntary collaboration and the success stories which we have already marked in the history of our department and education with the help of CSR initiatives, volunteering, and so many collaborations and so many hands working with us, with our department with our department officers to make and bring a quality change in education. So I thank Youth for Seva for providing such a wonderful stage for all of us to just to discuss and also to get few ideas where the fund meets the needy and the fund really utilized in a way it has to be utilized, and also the volunteering should be done in a way to make a school an effective place to learn, to teach and to learn all the basic skills which we focus on. So when we think of so many our department initiatives like infrastructures, so many CSR initiatives, joined hands with our department, improvised our school infrastructures, buildings, toilets and dining halls, and providing so many whatever is needed for the, like it might be a water filter, it might be related to the management and day-to-day running of the school. And it has created so many change, positive change in teachers, especially children and parents who are looking at our government schools and they are admitting their children to our government schools, and in a view of getting a quality education. And in those areas we always had a support of volunteering and hand-holding of our thoughts and ideas and our department programs. Especially when we think of NMMS activity, a wonderful work is being done from Youth for Seva. They motivate the children, and I just want all of you have a grand and a big round of applause for Youth for Seva for volunteering this. In this whole panel members, I am in the receiving edge. These people are giving and we are receiving. And also they are asking us what you want, how do you want we people to collaborate with you, and what are your needs. It's not that there is a fund and we should have a program. We want to do a program, let's have the fund. That should be the paradigm shift we want at this moment, because we have some money, how to spend. Let's do some program, let's go to school, do something. It's not the way we are thinking about. Even if we don't have funds also, if I have idea, everything will collaborate, people will come, funds will come, things will happen on its own if we have the greater ideas to look into our schools and quality. So that's why this stage gives me an opportunity. Most of the times, being an officer, I used to do the self-talk. What if they have done like this? What if they have asked before they are implementing the project? When we get a proposal, what if they do like this? Provide this facility to our schools. We are waiting for one NGO or one volunteer to come and tell I am going to do this. So probably my self-talk, I think probably going to end today, because I am talking in front of all of you regarding our needs and regarding the success stories which has been already done with the help of so much of volunteering, giving our technical edge to our content. We have a lot of e-contents created by volunteers and lot of like audiometry and all those materials given by especially Samarthanam, one of our co-partners in all the things we do. So last week only we have one more volunteer camp by Samarthanam, and like monitoring and testing, and especially for speech and hearing students, they are providing so many materials, and it's a great help for the children who are very bright. Just they need a small spectacle or something. So many students have just a very simple visual disability. Very simple correction may help them to read the blackboard what has been written, to read the textbook properly, or to hear the content and to assimilate. That will give a great leap to his academic success. It is a small instrument, and the effect will be very big in his life, that he can able to communicate, he can able to understand the content, he can able to communicate to his parents, teachers, parents, relatives. So his total life will be changed. This is a great success according to me for any student who is receiving a help like this. and our school buildings, which has been renovated by so many CSR funds. Now we can see the change and especially increase in admission of students. So parents are looking at our infrastructure and they are joining hands. Why we have to pay fees and go, since government school is giving a quality building, quality education, technology support and good qualified teachers, and we have midday meal scheme, everything running hand in hand. We have supplementary food introduced from last year. So many things in place, and our school has become a wonderful world to live, to learn, to explore our new opportunities for 21st century. So this success story would have not been possible if you have not joined hands with us and collaborated with us in every step of our achievement. So in this panel, I also have my requirements list and some needs to be discussed, and then as the panel discussion moves on, we keep on adding those things and getting your opinions. But I thank being a representation from Department of Public Instruction, a very wholehearted thanks to all of you for joining hands and also considering education as the first priority. So that is very important. All of us are sitting because someone has taught us alphabets, someone has taught us, mathematics or symbols, and also just they taught us how to view life and also help others. Life is being helped and also help others to lead a good life and bring that vision in the minds of the students, and also give vocational support. So many NGOs, they come to our schools, especially they talk to 10th standard students, what do you want to do next? What are the small courses they are in, you can do it free of cost also and with a very less fees, and so many CSR initiatives have been done in such a way that they are paying fees also for those skill-based courses for them, and they can immediately find a good job, and also they can support their family, and also they can continue their education with some correspondence course or a regular course or evening colleges like that. So this has really changed their life, their parents' condition, and also the family condition. Just one person is educated and he has the vision to bring up that family. So on behalf of all my students, teachers and department, I sincerely thank all the, even a small initiative, even a small suggestion, a small initiative in the thing will bring a deep change in the quality of education. As a person sitting here, seeking the help, getting the needs, and also bringing that effectiveness in our systems and bringing smiles in our students. So this panel discussion probably bring me also a different view of seeing the volunteering, the collaboration and the CSR initiatives. Thank you for having me in this discussion, and I see a very much positive energy in the crowd and also a lot of opportunities for our government schools to coming up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Having heard about some of the success stories in government schools through various volunteering initiatives, I want to turn to you. Amongst the various hats you've adorned, I want to hear from you about some of the challenges you've seen about promoting volunteering. Right? And with that, we'll close the opening remarks and then get into slightly more detailed discussions.
Sure. I think my first decade plus of my professional life, I was on the non-profit side. This was the time when I was leading programs, leading on. The next decade was on the corporate side, which predominantly was around CSR, sustainability, and leading employee volunteering, and now I have a company. And one of the things that I've kind of realized is the effectiveness of volunteering is like the words that we otherwise also use, like sustainability, collaboration. In my personal life, weight loss, work-life balance. No one can disagree, right? but it takes so much of effort to really get that done. Right? So I've seen on both sides that it's almost like a relationship where you have to be at it to be able to do it. And it's fascinating to see, and since I've been on both sides, I've also been able to see what really pans out when you really are able to do it. So on the non-profit side, when I was leading volunteering, was kind of looking at both national and international volunteers and stuff. And some of the struggles that we went through were, one, we didn't need volunteers. Corporate wanted to send us volunteers. Right? Now it is our problem to figure out what to do with volunteers. Right? Because my program is not designed to bring in volunteers. Now the worry that I primarily have is, hey, you've given me a grant. Now the CSR head is saying 30 people are coming in a 20-member class. Right? Handle that. And for some of the remarks that had come up earlier saying, now you have to manage everything including khana, pina, bottled water and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, hey, I am supposed to create impact for these students and the children. Right? Why am I handling this? Right? And my fundraising director comes to me and says, grant is at stake. Okay? So important that you manage. Right? So there is this element that as a non-profit I kind of deal with, where it is not part of my design in itself. And so it becomes an additional responsibility. The second is, as multiple non-profits, not every activity technically is volunteer friendly. And there have been multiple cases where volunteers come in. For volunteers it is that one day of coming out. And I have a theory of change and I'm saying that impact has to happen like this. And suddenly there are this set of volunteers who kind of come in and I have no control on them as to how the behavior essentially happens, right? And so I'm at a loss. And these are some struggles that we faced on the non-profit side. Right? Then I move on to the corporate side. On the corporate side, I realized that this corporate is not a homogeneous thing. There are so many players at play at any given point in time when you are talking about volunteering. So you have the HR team. Right? The HR team has KRA. Right? So you have to, if there is an engagement person who is kind of dealing with it, then that becomes a KRA. There is a sustainability head. Nowadays, most of the companies now report on volunteering and volunteering number of hours. And so it is important that the volunteering hours actually go up because you are also kind of rated by ESG service providers. Then there is the CSR head who anyway has to spend the money. But in addition to that has now to deal with volunteering. Then you have volunteers or employees who are interested who are at various stages. Like today Deepak was talking about. There are some who are deeply passionate about work. Some who want to explore it but don't know how to start. So the tourist traveler guide I think is a very interesting analogy and all of them exist in different ways. And now there is this middle management who is like volunteering, theek hai, mera kaam karke do. Right? And then the senior leadership and the marketing says, hey, it is an important branding. Right? And it is very interesting to see that while there are priorities, not all priorities are aligned. And so there is a continuous struggle. There have been multiple cases where I definitely know the HR team is actually going out saying volunteering, we'll have to kind of finish the numbers. Certain cases leaders take interest in, certain cases leaders don't take interest. And leaders taking interest and not taking interest has significant signaling value within the organization. And so it becomes literally, and when you really look at the team which is managing, it's a chukku team. In most of the cases, they have to manage so many people across and stuff like that. The moment you put all of that together, you find that this is like a solid piece which needs to be worked on again and again and again. For you to be able to get to the kind of conversations that we've been having, where everyone really benefits out of it. And I have personally in my life seen in cases where it has worked, it works like magic.
Thank you, everyone. I think that sets the context about 5 different perspectives from 5 diverse industries. But continuing our discussion about really having an evolving ecosystem and an effective ecosystem for volunteering, Priya, I want to get your thoughts on what do you do at State Street from a measurement and evaluation standpoint of volunteering?
Thank you. One, measurement, thank you Sashikala ma'am for the wonderful success stories. I think we try predominantly to bring such success stories, which is very hard to hear, right? So while we do grants, while we do volunteering, we try and get to these partners to tell, hey, what was the kind of impact, to come and know what did we do and what did we really make a change in the community. So such things we try, each of our team reach out. There are relationship managers that we have for each of these NGOs who partner with these NGOs to connect with them, bring events for volunteering, which is also aligned with our larger goals, and make sure they also look at what is the impact. But beyond that, we also deal with numbers, like how Mr. Deepak had showcased, like what is the number of volunteering hours, right? One, to understand how much are we contributing. Second, like our organization also has, kind of leave that they provide to also see how many of them are really utilizing that. That is second. Third, the hours are important because if a particular individual has contributed to the same NGO, there is opportunity for the organization to contribute some funds, right? So that is why volunteering hours is one of the measurement we do. Like in 2023, our organization, we are present in 26 cities across the globe and close to 1 lakh volunteering hours across the globe. And if I'm going to drill it down to India alone, it is close to 23, kind of volunteering hours that we have connected with 75 plus NGOs. We also look at the number of beneficiaries out of these volunteering hours. Like if I'm going to talk the numbers, like it's close to 13,600 beneficiaries that we touched upon in the last year. Second, like, the morning, the traveler, guide and tourist was catch for everybody. Like, there are people who repeatedly contribute, but there are also people who contribute once in a tourist kind of thing. So we, we also see what is the number of unique volunteers who are, kind of really contributing and getting them. The reason is they have gone beyond their, kind of efforts. So we try and reward them because that is one of the encouragement that we provide. We also kind of bring them into kind of various meetings, the town halls, to make sure those are, the contributions are heard by many who might get inspired. So, that is another mechanism that we do. And, also, our measurement is how many has the contribution gone from individual pockets, so that is again matched by the organization as well, because that is, kind of really, really key. Now, this is from, the number game perspective, I would say, which is very important. The data is very important to see, hey, are we repeatedly doing on one particular aspect, which is the city which has covered a lot, because our focus is also to serve the community. We are locally located, so we also see, are there repetition in these NGOs, how are we, kind of doing? Do we need to diversify? That is another element we see. Our strategy is, while it's core theme on volunteering in education and employability, we also see that is diversified. So we then go and see how much did we do volunteering towards people with disabilities, how much did we volunteer for a kind of marginalized or women community. So these are other elements to see. The focus has been only on one direction. Should we shift gears and also see, the other, and there is, kind of spread across things. Like, while our, from a grant making, it is predominantly more for education and employability. Volunteering, we are a little more flexible to make sure, hey, look, can we also do a school cleanup activity, right? While it is education, its theme is education, but then still it's going to help. And for employees, it's a lot of connect. While many times we don't ask really for, we arrange food for our employees or things like that, like you mentioned, but that's an employee connect as well, but still helping education. A lot of such initiatives like sustainability. We have set across like 8 solar panels in Karnataka government school, which has benefited close to 1,000 plus students, wherein there was no electricity for these schools, and the solar panels really, really helped them. And in Hyderabad, there have been, like close to 7 to 8 schools plus in Bengaluru, wherein we set up the digital innovation centers, a lab, a complete computer lab for them, wherein they never had these accessibilities. Now the children are able to understand technology, which is something we see as a game changer, right? So these are other impacts. Plus a lot of effort, going for people like wheelchair alignment. So because these are also other people who are disabled, but still have every opportunity to maybe do in education, maybe play sports games. So we do a lot of focus on these things to tell them that, look, it doesn't mean that you are, there is a lot of, skills in you that you can bring together and, kind of gather together. These are the measures that we take, and we come back to our organization to talk about such stories which further impacts employees who really have, not been able to go there. So the number game, the success stories, taking the employees to the real place so that they get the impact are some of the things that our organization is aligned to.
Thank you. Naveen, I want now come to you. To our audience, I want you to explain about some of the partnerships and collaborations that you've established with Samarthana, and what is it that our audience can take back as learnings from what has worked for you and what they could go back and emulate at their respective organizations.
Past 27 years, Samarthana is working with 200 plus corporates, and most to that we have partnered with government agencies as well. And Samarthana tailors the activity according to the corporate request. Because the number of volunteers sometimes will be involved in that particular activity, we tailor the activity according to them. And along with that, we also believe that the volunteering efforts, whatever is being put, should be beneficial in mutual. Not only the hours or the numbers, it's also the beneficial and that which we have seen in many success stories, especially in the education segment of Samarthana. And Samarthana also provides the quarterly, yearly, and half-yearly calendars as per the corporate request. And also, what we do is individual importance has also been provided. Where the individual the donors or the volunteers who comes into the picture and wants to enhance, we look into their what they can do, because the Samarthana runs the Kannada medium school, and we look for the local language people also. The curriculum is in Kannada language, and this overall, when we do the first filtration itself, so then the output is always better what we see. And also, and we have seen the numerous updates which we get, or the requirements which we get, unique things from the team as well. It might be not in our picture as well, but the volunteers individually, when they get connected, it might be corporate or the government agencies who connect with us, they give us certain areas. So where we work on it. So we tailor those activities, we build them and we propose them back to them. So where any enhancement to be done or things to be implemented, that will be done on that part. And we do the volunteering also in modes, that is short term, middle term, and the long term. So long terms are like some developmental applications, so which may not be, some agencies may not be able to purchase it, right? So due to the cost or everything. So those type of, the team, the technical team of that particular corporate will help us on the development of those. The midterm, like next quarter or half yearly, the team wants to only focus on one certain part to give more priority on that. And where we majorly focus on livelihood resource center and education, and which we have seen a huge changes. And also, as I had mentioned earlier, so 250 plus events. These are only the voluntary, but not the long term which are, because the long term takes a lot of time. So additional effort, additional time frame. Post your work also, you may have to sit and work on those. So many things will be done on that. And overall, I need to say that these partnerships, whatever we do with the partnerships, collaborations, right? Samarthana is flexible on it, and we can work together. And any implementation has to be done. The team is available, and we can overall do the better implementation for the better society. And also, it might be on the grants part, or it might be the voluntary cast. Samarthana is always there. So it's in the perspective of Samarthana, I'm telling, and also the individual note the people can also be a part of.
Thank you. Arun, taking off from there, I wanted to hear from you about anything innovative that you've observed, any innovative approaches that you've observed both at the corporate level or at the NGO end, which has helped build an effective corporate employee volunteering engagement?
Yeah, in fact, I think some really innovative work that's happening in this space. And that is the reason why I continue to believe this is a very potent lever to create social impact, right? So one super duper area where I've seen is this entire matching and investment into skill-based volunteering. Right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because when I was in the non-profit side, the kind of skills that we never had, in many cases are abundant and plenty on the corporate side. Let me give you an example. We used to work on livelihood-related issues, and one core belief, premise on which you work with livelihoods is primarily saying, how do you connect to the market? Market is the most important thing, right? And one of the key issues there is access to capital. No one understands access to capital better than a company working in the BFSI space, right? And so to be able to get one of the team members to come and speak to non-profits of saying, how do you really engage with the community to be able to enable them access to capital? Is worth its value in it. And we've kind of personally seen that because I was part of a BFSI company and we were able to kind of do this. So what you do on a day-to-day basis is so special to the non-profit which is primarily trying to address this. And I thought that was a brilliant opportunity. The second, I just want to draw on two more examples. The second was in the retail space, where I was again leading CSR and sustainability. Retail, by the way, you know that is one of the largest employers of young people in the country. And then, while we saw the potential, the idea primarily was how do you address this? And we used to have about 70% of our staff members out of a 25,000 workforce on shop floors. And these are the people who really understand. The problem was that they work a 6-day week. So if you require them to get out of the shop floor and go to community and do it, that is not possible. But they were able to volunteer their time by bringing in exposure visits of students from the neighboring colleges into the retail store. And that worked so beautifully because now you are able to solve for the right person, right opportunity, right time. And at scale, because at that time we had about 650 to 700 stores across the country, right? And if you were to, and we did like about 100 in each, and suddenly the numbers really went up. And now you are hearing a peer who is probably a couple of years senior to you, standing there saying, hey, this is what it kind of was. And we saw that to be of amazing value. The third area where we saw a lot of value, particularly in this, is many of the senior members in the corporate. Today, one of the areas that a lot of non-profits really struggle is access to networks. Right? And you will hear this in multiple cases where you say, why, whether it is resource mobilization, fundraising, etc. Trying to even understand the corporate space is a big challenge for a lot of non-profits. And you've seen a lot of senior leaders in the corporate space really opening up their networks from a volunteering standpoint. And in many of these, the innovation primarily has really actually gone down to figuring out what is in it for me from both sides and being able to really curate it well. And lastly, I just want to end with an example. COVID was a time when we saw volunteering at its best, right? So we were dealing with about 25,000 employees here in India and their families. We were in a big way working in the Middle East, and we had about 40,000 Indians there and their families there. And COVID was a time when really support to the families was a big thing, and we saw the way, and that was also from a standpoint of culture, really everyone kind of coming together and signaling the amount of weight that volunteering would have picked up, and really at a time when it worked magic for every single person who was touched by it. So coming back to this point, I really think if you are able to solve it the right way, the energy that it unleashes is unparalleled.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Sorry, just 2 minutes. Like, while you, Ajit, you touched upon corporate, a lot of things, while we have skills and we want to develop, kind of deliver that, that's core for corporates. We also encourage, like at State Street, we make sure, like we do a lot of programs for speech and hearing impaired. So we run training programs for our employees first to understand, how is the sign language to be done. Because we also encourage to hire people, right? So when we hire and bring them on board, to have an inclusivity, our employees need to know how to deal with this. So that is another, kind of an innovative approach that we do to educate them to handle, how to handle these, kind of inclusive spaces. And Ajit is absolutely right. Many times people may not go into the spaces, but we try and bring these students to our organizations. One, they get a feel of corporate world. Second, mentoring here can be continuous because they are coming here, employees need not go there, so they can spend that particular time. And we run programs like skillathons. That is, what is the problem statement for these NGOs? We run internally skill challenges within teams. So it's a competition, but at the same time we are serving a cause. How do we solve? So I just wanted to touch, it's also learning for corporates, to learn about this society, to innovate more.
Thanks. Yes, please.
To answer your point, ma'am, so we do also have these sessions called as sign language sessions where we conduct to the corporates. So we cater those type of activities. Along with that, with the corporate exposures visit also, we have given the visibility access to the people where they can go. So in that sector, there are disabled people like locomotive challenged, visually challenged or speech and hearing, where they go to the corporates. There will be assistants, people who will be teaching them or explaining about it for translation of what sign language is. And so both the areas, Samathanam is always there. So if you need any kind of an assistance on that, of course, so we are there.
Thank you, Naveen. So a lot of innovative ideas being discussed across panel. Now I want Dr. Shashikala to move to you and ask you, is there specific engagement strategies that the Department of Education has to be able to engage volunteers and effectively engage volunteers?
As the part of all the activities which has been discussing, we are discussing, sir has raised one very important view of monitoring the volunteers. So when the engagement strategy comes, whenever we want to do any project or any quality initiative in the school or anything related to infrastructure or overall development of a school, first we need to engage those community of teachers, students and the officers who are nearby working with them. They might be facing a very small problem and our strategy should not superlead the problem, and more energy is not required, more funds are not required, more volunteers are also not required. Probably a small initiative is enough to solve that problem. So here, there are some important things to be noted before we engage or we do the strategy part. So because whenever we ask because generally every day I might have 5 to 6 proposals, minimum 5 to 6. In a month, probably 40 to 50 proposals. It might be a smaller one, minor thing, major thing, who want to do something to our government schools. My first question is, how you have come up with this concept? How do you think, if this is done, everything will be sorted? How do you think it's a master key? Because there are so many problems. Even if you keep on discussing for 100 years also, there will be something, because we are increasing the technology. We are doing so many things. Again, we think, oh, there's cyber safety, so much of technology, so much of screen time. What to do? One more NGO, one more initiative, one more volunteer to cut on all that. How to bring back? We rise, we bring back. It's not that we are moving in one line. We just keep on moving. Our strategies will change as the time changes. COVID, we have only introduced mobile phones to the children. Yes, if you don't have 100 watt, how to reach you? Children with network, children without network, so we have all the list of students we have made and how to reach out. Now we think how to bring back again the teacher-student thing. So these engagement strategies will change from time to time and year to year, sometimes month to month. So in the beginning of the school days, we may have different challenges to come out. As she told, we are engaging the parents with a dropout and we are encouraging them to send to the government schools and all the schools with no fees and with all the facilities. Probably that is the challenge in the initial days of our academic year. When the year progresses, we have challenges of bringing that. I just want to give an example. A student of 5th standard, what we do is, what you have learned in 1 to 3 and 1 to 4, we do a recapitulation, do a bridge course and bring them to that 5th standard. So this is a challenge for students. In the summer they would have forgotten something and basics. And again we need to fix, unless we fix those parameters, learning outcomes of 4th, we couldn't go to 5th. And there is a challenge. Probably in that area, we may need some volunteers who help us in fundamentals of maths, fundamentals of science, fundamentals of language, grammar, speaking skills, communication skills. These are all the challenges. When they are nearing a evaluation part, probably a recapitulation kind of a thing. And at the end of the session and in between we have parents group discussion, a volunteers who can just engage the parents and also tell them how important the education is all about. We are also doing the same thing and they also join hands with us in motivating the best parent, so they also start contributing. Their contribution is to send the children to the school and let them not engage in any other activities till 18. Reading is the priority, that kind of thing. So whenever we ask, sometimes we have challenge of teachers, sir. That was I was discussing with Mamta. So we have in our, because I'm just straight away talking our department issues which we day to day we face. So one teacher, imagine they get retired at November of this year. Immediately we don't have a parallel backup system to bring one more teacher and put it in that place. The whole school with 700, 800, 1,000 children will just suffer because there is no mathematics teacher, or there is no science teacher, there is no Kannada teacher. At least we want some organization for the whole block or something to help. So if you have requirement, madam, 3 to 4 days, we will volunteer one teacher for 2 to 3 months, or at least for some hours in the total week hours to replace, so that the whole academic year will close and then again we will have our own strategies to do the things. Whenever I ask, no madam, in our CSR we will never have a provision for all this. This is a lookout of the department and we cannot do that. This is not, I'm not telling this is wrong. This is the way their plans are. They have their own plans to do. So whenever we ask for these kind of things, sir, probably a real flexibility might be required. Because in some, we have one school in called Putten, now it's going to be a Bengaluru public school. It will be, it's a smart school project. So they want 1,600 students we are having, and we want 20 teachers extra to that school, and we have provided 9 to 10 guest teachers. Still shortage of teachers, and whole year the school will run with shortage of teachers. We are also doing our part, but little bit of help for a small period of time we may need. So in engagement strategy, some things to be considered is choice-based, need-based, long-term impact, cost-effective and time-effective. It should be cost-effective and also time. You may just pay a nominal thing to the volunteer, a big change in the SSLC results. Just the student has passed all the 5 subjects, just because of one subject is lagging behind. So these strategies has to be monitored. We want a less time-consuming, less funds, and also a major impact, and also a need based on the academic year how it progresses. Because I am talking only about education thing, because there are CSR initiatives done in other fields also. They do in agriculture, they do in health department, they do with social welfare department, they do with senior citizens department, so many things. As concept to education as it's a pillar of the society, where quality needs to be addressed, and time needs to be addressed, and we need a complete support in the probably the e-content or anything like that. So that kind of engagement strategy, and well before we start the project, in the beginning of the academic, probably this is the right time, say March, April, May, we do the whole planning for this school. These are all the NGOs coming in. These are all the things. They give the teacher support, they give the infrastructure support, they give the e-content support, they give other cultural kind of support like celebration of festivals, celebration of things where students learn all the richness of our culture and heritage. These things has to be properly done on only those activities till December, and some January, March we have our own things to carry on. So these are all the challenges I face every day. So probably I got a very good opportunity to speak because they are giving their volunteers, they are giving their time, they are giving their energy, they are giving their money, and just little bit of small planning here and there make it more effective, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Doctor. I know volunteering in schools is quite a hot subject. A lot of companies want to be able to volunteer with schools, and I think there are some valuable insights on what we could do there. Manjunath, I want to turn to you now and hear from you. How can individual contribution, right, become, according to you, a movement for community empowerment and a collective community exercise per se? What is it that can spark change and rally more people behind?
I think it's a brilliant question or brilliant topic that I can talk. So I would like to start with an example. So if all of us remember, almost 5 to 6 years back, our Honorable Prime Minister started one movement, Swachh Bharat. So a person was sitting in New Delhi, the capital city, and thinking about envisioning that, okay, to celebrate 150th year of our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. So he started a movement of Swachh Bharat. We saw lot of corporates, lot of NGOs, individuals were involved in this event. So how could that happen? So he envisioned that, okay, something I need to do or give back to my country. So that's when, like, I want to see India as a clean city or a clean country. So when a person sitting there can think of whole nation needs to be clean and neat. So why can't we do that? Right? As an individual, what I can do. So it's all depends on how you take your first step. Right? So when you are looking for, you see a problem statement and which can become a bigger in the future. So how you can act now. So maybe the first baby step going to matter is what I feel, right? If at all ma'am rightly explained or said that during COVID, I think the COVID time it made us to learn a lot of things. Right? Until 2019, we were telling our kids, move away from mobile. Okay, don't watch mobile, don't play games. But in 2020, suddenly, so we're telling them to go out and play. So in 2020, we all started giving that. So that's a transformation, I would say, right? So when we're saying at one point of time, children not use mobile, now we telling our children, okay, attend the class, right? So if you're not adaptable to the situation, because my son asked, so all these years, Daddy was saying me to not use mobile and you're insisting me to use mobile, so I don't want to attend the class because I'm not using the mobile. So how are you going to make the child think about the concept, right, at that particular situation, what is the need of that? So we need to be more flexible depending on the situation and how we are going to adapt to the change. So similarly, when it comes to the community, right, we see a lot of problem statement. So how can we adapt to the situation and act upon it? So I can take one more example within our organization, right? We conduct a lot of CSR activities and we noticed that it was more of a people with physical challenge or especially able were unable to take part in the events. So as an individual, as an organization, what can I do? So we started organizing events within the company. Like it's starting from the diya painting, shoe painting. So those kind of activities we started in the office where they can also take part in this. It's more of an inclusive and diversity, right? It's when you say we will take you to out of school or out of corporate to a school and do the painting activity or those kind of things, they'll not be able to take part. So when we have in-house events, so that would help them also to be more inclusive. So it is more of how you are going to, now we are addressing the community with specially challenged. So how that would happen. So it's only the vision that you have and think, okay, what's happening around you and how you can make use of the situation so that you are including everybody in your events. So I would like to make one statement. So your small deed and time can make a lot of difference in someone's life. Its only thing is how you're going to make that time, and never hesitate to explore new opportunities which can benefit the community. So with that, I would like to conclude that so opportunities are everywhere, and only thing is you should know how to look and where to look. So with that, I would like to conclude that.
Thank you, Mr. We may have time for a couple of questions from the audience. Anybody who wants to ask a question, please spell out your name. Also spell out whom you are asking this question to, and try and keep the questions brief. Got somebody there? Please.
Hi, my name is Abhishek Ayappan. I'm from an organization called Paralearning. We are into the space of training and consulting, and we facilitate a lot of training programs with theatre-based learning. We do a lot of shows. We do a lot of work with the space of learning and development. So my question goes to this, right? I remember starting volunteering as a kid, because we come from a family where volunteering was a part of our life. We would work with the community, we work with the temple, we like cook for people and things like that. And that kind of moved into street theatre when I got into. One factor that remained in volunteering, because at the end of the day, corporate, what are we talking about volunteering, right? Was the emotional connect. So as I'm working with corporates and like working with different organizations, I see that there's a lot of ecosystem, there's a lot of systemization that is placed. But I think that emotional aspect is somewhere kind of, missing. So my question is this, can we as a conversation take it forward as to like, what is it that I'm passionate about when it comes to giving back? Like, what is my emotional connect? Which group do I emotionally want to give back to? I think this question goes to Haripriya, and maybe others can also take up this question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and absolutely agree, right? I'll take my own personal story. I have a, very close relative who is autistic, and in my family, and it was very, very hard for me to understand why that child is behaving so, why the family is going through such a trouble, right? So we don't connect. We say, oh, I don't know what they're talking about, right? Until I went about, doing volunteering for an organization called Sense Kaleidoscope. They educate and empower children with autism. So they are, on their self by creating a lot of art and visual work. So that helped me, took me time, why the child behaves so. First it was like understanding the autism spectrum, understanding what the child goes to. We did a volunteering session wherein our employees had to go and volunteer to just create stories for them from alphabet A to Z. You will not believe it took at least 5 months for the employees working in teams to create story for at least 4 letters. Because it's not like just we write a story, it's different world altogether. It takes time and effort to understand first what is going through. Like we always talk about empathy, and that can be brought only if people really come to the ground to kind of understand. That's when we try and bring a lot of programs like sign languages, get such people there. You can talk a lot, but until they really experience it, it's going to be very difficult. We also try and do, provide a planner saying, hey, here are programs, could be education for disability, for LGBTQI place, whatever it is. So people can choose. Maybe I'm inclined to autism, so I pick and choose volunteering for neurodivergent kids. So we try and provide that, but we keep encouraging and talking about these success stories. So just in the autism case itself, we got the autistic kids to bring their art to our office and showcase how they drew. You will not believe, earlier we were running around, hey, can you come and write stories for them? No impact. We just got 2 kids to our office. You will not believe the number of volunteers who came up, because they never understood the connect. When the children came, stood up on the podium and showed their art and spoke their stories, it was incredible. And that is, so to get that connect, I think we need to have the real emotional, get them on ground. Tell stories, right? These impactful stories. We try and take videos and showcase it to them. Hey, how it changed somebody's life, right? Until we bring all these elements and share personal stories. Like I share this personal story, right? that helps people to understand there's a lot in store. So I would say those are some things that, kind of we could get to bring the emotional connect, which like you mentioned is absolutely necessary to get the volunteering movement on. That's my thoughts, but I would pause here for the other panelists to comment.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, please. One and then two.
Hello. Yes, this side. Okay. So my question is into the basic actually. My name is Dr. Rakesh Deshpute and I work in like a corporate field for 20 plus and run more than 450 projects. So my question is to the corporate volunteering ka basic thing. There is a difference between the Photoshop volunteering versus genuine volunteering. So when the government imports, you have to spend this much of money. Now corporate is find out the way to spend that money this or other way. But something basic is missing. And related to that one, I can just call it what is meant by the value-based volunteering. I know Venkatesh ji from last 15 years and the Youth for Seva is doing a very genuine and amazing work. But as come from the corporate field, I see at the end you have to submit the project and you have to submit the photo. But something is basic is missing. How we can connect that dot? Thank you.
Would you like to point that question to someone specific?
Anyone can answer that question. Mainly it was if from the Cognizant sir was there, he should have answered it more deeply. But anyone can take up that one.
Okay, I just have a quick view there, right? I think it's related to one of the challenges that we face. The important question is whose value? Right? We're talking about value-based volunteering. Whose value are we talking about? Right? When we look at it from, let's say, for example, an NGO standpoint, we may not see value from the employee who is kind of looking at it because we think that might be a report. But when you look at it from the other side, it will change. So I think super important for us to also align on ये value मतलब क्या? मतलब is the value that you are talking about the same value that I am talking about? And am I judging your value? Right? So if I am like a 23-year-old IT professional working, I want to understand what this space is. I am not trying to solve for a world's problem. Is my value less than you? So I think the moment we go deeper, we figure out that there are these common threads which are kind of coming out, which becomes a foundation for really strong partnerships for this, has been my experience.
Whenever it comes to volunteering, sir has asked, related that emotional connect. And one more thing is the expertise we have before we volunteer. So when we have both in our hand, like we know what to do exactly in that area, and also we have an emotional connect that the effectiveness should come. It's not that we have to spend this amount of volunteering hours and we need to do that. So that's a different thing. In the beginning only I told, first the idea should be great to imply that idea with emotion and with lot of spirit. We need funds. It's not that the other way round. We have funds, we have March 31st and we need to do that. It is not the other way round. So in that way, being if I want to volunteer, because maths is my favorite subject, I want to volunteer with an emotional connect, I should have that passion for for the subject I am volunteering, and also for the students, what effect they get when I really interact with them. It's like giving me a motivation, because whatever we do with our heart and our self-motivation will bring a better change. It's not the number of hours, it's not the number of volunteers. Probably 1 or 2 people in the school may change the whole environment of the school and whole learning system with more enthusiasm. That's where these 2 points will come, the expertise and also the emotional connect.
Thank you. We have time for one last question. Yes, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Harshita Srinivas from People for Passion NGO. My question to the panel today here is, one is, I see that most of the corporates work on various causes supporting different sectors in the community, right? So I want to understand, like, how is that you identify the need first? Is there any, how do you authenticate it, this, that? And after completing the project or you initiating it, how do you keep a track of it? And how well is it being implemented on a longer run? So, for example, you're taking up a project, you finish it. So after that, is it there someone, say for example, you visit a tribal community or so. So is it there someone you go back to there and check if it is working right? Or how do you correct it is my first question. And the second question is, how do corporates support the labor communities in the community, like say labor communities like slums? Here in Bangalore we have 220 plus slums. I see you associate with a lot of NGOs and other sectors, but how is the corporate supporting the labor communities and slums here? Because there is a need for them as well that we can support. So how does corporate look into it is my question. Thank you.
Maybe I'll take the first question. So how do we check the accessibility, or how do we check how we have made an impact? You can sit down now, that's fine. Okay. So as an organization within our company, LSEC, like we have deployed a third-party vendor who would be doing the check of what are the impacts that we have made, right? So once we assess, okay, so we have few partnered NGO along with Youth for Seva in our company, like Enable India, Akshay Patra, so various other, like 6 to 7 NGOs we partner with. So after each event completes, the third-party vendor, in the form of a questionnaire, reaches to the interested party. Like in this case, it could be on they do a background check of how impactful this activity was. Right? They have a questionnaire. They talk to the NGO and also the people who beneficiaries, both of them. It's more of an anonymous survey kind of a thing, where they ask a couple of questions, and based on it, they would be providing a report for us. Right? That report would tell us, okay, are we in the right track? So we have a vision for our organization, are we moving in that direction? So if we are not, then we have to take a step back and see how we can look at align our vision with the NGO. So I would say that connecting with a third party rather than me going and checking on the survey, like if we go and ask someone, for sure they will tell that, okay, everything went well. So there's no scope for improvement. When a third party goes and asks the person, they might be open up and they can tell what exactly the benefit out of it. So that's what we practice within our organization when it comes to the impact of the event that we do. Right? On the second point, labor, maybe someone want to take up that question because I'm not too familiar with how does that's going to happen. Maybe you can.
I think your second question was how do you choose, right? Basically, yeah, how do you choose a program, like when you have a lot of opportunity?
No, my second question was, see, you work with various organizations and NGOs, right? But what about the labor communities like slums in Bangalore? We have 220 plus slums here in Bangalore, right? How does corporate support them in terms of initiatives?
Yeah, so when corporate does volunteering or for grants, it is not our wish. So we have, we have websites where we ask NGOs to come and showcase their interest. Now we look at what are these various interests coming, that is one. Second, like organization like us has relationship managers who are connected and tied to various NGOs. We try and see, hey, what are they really touching? See, our principle is more on education and employability. So are we touching really only the urban people? What are the rural communities we are serving? If it is rural, is it women, children employability? Is it people with disability? What are they bringing it, right? That is one, we get a lot of list of, interest that is coming. Then there is a huge committee, right? First we see, is it aligning with our goals, right? Second, is it in the location that we are? So if it is Bangalore, the vision is to serve in and around Bangalore, because that's the first thing before even going anywhere. Third is, what is their ask? Is it something that I can do, right? If it is some, like say 300 kilometers away from, my office, right? Probably, maybe a technology support, e-learning, something I can provide, but can I go in person? It's a little challenging. So, we also base this, there is a committee who sits, debates, is it aligning with my vision? Am I making a real impact to these labor communities, these slums, who are bringing? And then to your first question, there are, kind of third-party vendors who connect to say, hey, what is the impact, if at all we have done, what it has cost us an impact, and then give them back.
Sorry. The thing is, like, most of the labor communities are not associated with NGOs.
In the interest of time, we have to close
Thank
this.
you.
Right? You can continue having the discussion once the panelists step down. As closing remarks for all of you, the panel, in about a minute, give us a recommendation that you will have for both individuals and organizations who are part of today's program. What is it that you would recommend for them to be able to improve their volunteering programs, both at an individual level and at an organization level? Right? In another 60 seconds, if each of you can quickly finish this up. We are running slightly behind schedule, so request you to keep track on time.
Okay, so instead of the quantity, the quality, what we look at based on the quality and the department-wise, if we engage with the volunteering opportunities, I think that would be the most better way for the, especially the sector of education. So we look into that, and others activities we can look into the quality, the quantity as well.
Thank you.
So if at all I need to make a closing comment, right? So as we all know that each drop of water makes an ocean. So it's all depends on how you're going to look at things. So I suggest if you find a problem and you know a solution, like if at all I take an example, so you have a problem statement and you want to talk to your organization, be open and candid. So this is where I see a problem area. How can we as an organization can help? That's one thing. And as an individual, make it a point that you take any problem, you take the first step, right? Definitely, if at all you have to reach a step of 10,000, that would start from the step 1. So please try to dare enough to take that step 1 so that you can reach the 10,000 steps of destination. That's what I would like to cover.
I would recommend for all to look upon sustainability and scalability, because many times we do, but sometimes we spread too thin, like we mentioned. How can we be focused enough to create a larger impact, get that scale and sustain throughout is something that, as corporates, as individuals we can, which is surely going to make a larger impact.
Thank you.
I just want to end up with one sentence. I just want to answer your question, ma'am. Yes, especially she have intention is to attend to the labor class and the slum area. What we need to do is first is the survey part, madam. Where we survey part, we identify the problems based on the priority. We can't solve all the things and we can't take up also all the things. So based on the priority list and our timeline, whether we want to do it for a 1-year program, 2-year program, 3-year program, 4-year program, we take up priority issues, probably cleaning the things, making it disinfectant, then providing the basic facilities, providing the employment, giving them the education fund. Like that, we prioritize things and take up 2 to 3 initiatives and start working on it. When we really enter it, it explodes you with more ideas that what you can do. But we enter with one idea, probably the other idea meets when we really work with the people, and that explores the project in a better way. That's how we can work. And with regarding to this discussion, proper planning, in-time planning, and having coordination with all the stakeholders probably makes it the better way, because the connection, the need, the planning, the program, and not too much of initiatives, having 1 or 2 with a, as madam told, with a deep-rooted concept and having a deep impact will work, rather than having more programs and more of things to achieve less. We have a very minimized programs and a proper planning and achieve more. Probably that helps in collaborating part. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for me, there are 4 to 5 key points. First, I very strongly believe that volunteering done well can have transformative impact at an individual level, at an organization level, at a society level. And I've seen the magic, so that's number 1. Number 2, it is not automatic. It takes a lot of effort. It is neither linear nor structured. So a lot of persistence goes behind really putting that together. That is for me the second. Which then brings me to the third point of saying, because this is this particular way, The reason why there's also this way is because different people come to it with different priorities. One challenge that is usually there is some of us judge the other person's priority. So it is super important to also empathize and see where each one of these stakeholders is coming in this volunteering piece. And so, realizing the fact that not every organization is my right partner, but to be able to identify the right partners. And lastly, then playing the long game will, in my view, in many ways unlock the kind of potential they're working.
Thank you. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the first technical session. I think we had a freewheeling chat hearing various perspectives, and hopefully everyone out here is going back, taking home some new ideas, and we'll be able to go out and engage volunteers both at an individual level and as corporates in a more effective way. Thank you.
Darwin's theory of evolution says survival of the fittest, but there is a saying which is practical enough, which goes like, the species which adapts is the one which survives. Accordingly, change is the only constant. So this was some intense corporate community academia collaboration here on the stage. Thank you so much to all the dignitaries for giving amazing insights and food for thought. So I would like to request our moderator to felicitate all the dignitaries on the dais. Firstly, we have we have Naveen, CSR in charge of Samarthanam International. Thank you so much for your presence, sir. Up next, we have Arun Satyendranathan, partner, non-profit advisory unit, Sattva. Thank you so much for your presence, sir. Haripriya Shivaramakrishnan, corporate citizenship lead, State Street, Bangalore. Thank you so much, ma'am. Shashikala RN, BO, Bengaluru South. Thank you so much, ma'am. Manjunath Madhaya, Operations Manager, LSEG Bangalore. Thank you so much, sir. May I kindly request the founder and mentor of Youth for Seva, Sri Venkatesh ji, to kindly join us on dais. And now we present before you the man who helped us extract the content from all the esteemed delegates here on stage. May I kindly request Venkatesh ji to hand over a token of appreciation to the moderator, Sri Ramesh Balasundaram ji. A big round of applause, please. Thank you so much to all the panelists and moderator on behalf of Youth for Seva once again. It was an amazing session.
Thank you, madam.
With this, we come to the end of the technical session 1 of Corporate Volunteering Conclave 2024. Thank you so much one and all once again. Now let's all join for lunch. And we will join back here in the auditorium by 2 p.m. sharp. We will be starting the technical session 2, where Dr. Gururaj Karjagi sir will be joining us. So I'm pretty sure you all are excited about this session. Thank you so much and all. See you after lunch. Reminding you all again, requesting you all to join here in the auditorium by 2 p.m. Thank you.